Yeah. Welcome to direct sunlight. Hello everybody, welcome to Better Than Food Book Reviews. I am your host, Clifford Lee Sargent. Good day. How are you? I think the light is going to be doing a lot of changing. Fuck it, I'm doing it anyways. Today is My War Gone By, I Miss It So, by Anthony Lloyd. This was recommended to me by a good friend of mine who is a cinematographer and was also a one-time war photographer in Gaza City. He told me a great story about having to dodge bullets in what was referred to as Sniper's Alley, which was this very long alleyway in the middle of Gaza City that you had to pass through in order to go reach this Mexican food joint, which had the best tacos anywhere. And this was the hub where all the journalists would gather, all the international journalists. So everybody was risking life and limb for Mexican food, dodging, like hiding behind cars or like next to decaying walls while you hear like zip and bing. And he said it was great if you heard the bullets and you heard those noises because it was the ones that you didn't hear that hit you. This book, like that story, is fucking awesome. And interestingly enough, we start with another Sniper's Alley, but it is not in Gaza City. No. It is in fucking Wasp. Piece of shit. It is not in Gaza City. It is in Sarajevo in the spring of 1993. Leading us through the inferno that makes Apocalypse Now look like Disneyland is Anthony Lloyd, a British journalist who was in his 20s at the time, had a lot of life questions, a heavy smack habit, and an even heavier interest in war. Now, what you would expect from a book like this is the moralistic depiction of the trials and tribulations of man's inhumanity to man. And yes, in some passages it's unavoidable, but with Lloyd what you get is a refreshing, gritty, terrifying, confused, and sometimes humorous depiction of one of the most exciting places to exist. It underlines in red, permanent marker the intensity of living in the middle of a war culture. The changes in everyone, the urgency of living, and the unrelenting boredom that comes with being trapped and waiting for anything to happen. The fear that you feel one day that cripples you and brings you to your knees, and the impenetrable numbness that some may call courage that you feel the next day. The eccentric, outrageous characters that you meet, the thick, dangerous atmosphere that settles over everything like volcanic ash. What can you do? It's war. For an example of one of the eccentric characters, Darko. He was in his late 20s, a Croatian, one of the many hard young men whose physical courage and mental unscrupulousness had promoted them to the status of quasi-cult heroes. He led a group of fighters, the Jokers, a like-minded bunch of men whose killing abilities had bloomed without constraint in the borderless scope of the conflict. Heavily implicated in the massacre at Akhmishi, butchering that I'm sure, as well as countless other atrocities, he and his other men were labeled as war criminals. Describing his pre-war profession as businessman, he had acquired a fuel-hungry white Mercedes in which he used to drive ostentatiously between missions, carrying with him a teenage mall and an inner circle of gun-toting henchmen. He was married, sometimes beat his wife, and once presented a silver Colt 45 to a senior British officer as a present. "There are better shots, but there are no better killers," his deputy Misha said of him. Without a doubt he was bad, but he was also intelligent, charming, and quick-witted. "Anthony," he said to me on the last occasion I saw him, "I have killed so many Muslims now I am having difficult getting to sleep at night." He searched my eyes for a reaction, and when he got none, roared with laughter, slapped my leg, and got me a drink. Along the way in this thing you just find shit that is so fucked up it has to be real. He goes to this club in Sarajevo, like the only discotheque. We had met in the city's one remaining nightclub, the BB, a sweltering basement venue that afforded an outlet for easy pickups among Sarajevo's youth as the war stoked desire with one hand while unbuttoning restraint with the other. Curfew meant that once inside you were there until dawn, unless prepared to risk a night in jail, a delight I had discovered once already in the continuing saga of my relationship with Bosnian law. The black market beer served at the bar was so foul it produced a hangover whose chemical legacy left its taste on your brain, and the fumes from the generator seemed to threaten mass asphyxiation, but for sheer atmosphere, the BB was unsurpassed. The fashion accessories included Scorpion machine pistols, strapped to the ankle for the men, thigh-high black suede boots for the vampiresque women. On a good night, there was even shellfire to pick up where the base left off. And another party finds a hotel that is completely overrun with men fighting. It's just been taken over, and they're all shooting from inside the hotel. So I lit a cigarette, dumped the rucksack, and installed myself in a suitable corner and watched what happened. The first thing I noticed was the way the fighters' faces seemed contorted, eyes wide, jaws clenched, mouths grimacing, skins oily with sweat. Nobody was still for more than a few seconds. It was as if small dust devils of energy would ripple one group or another into action, something close to the hysteria of juddering gun barrels, feverish concentration and tensed muscle, followed by an almost post-coital backwash when a firer would slide behind the cover of a wall, head lolling slightly, sometimes uttering an unnatural peal of relieved laughter, near to a giggle, to anyone who made glittering eye contact. War and smack. I always hoped for some kind of epiphany in each to lead me out, but it never happened. And let's not kid ourselves, if we want to read a book about war, we want to hear about the worst of the worst. The things that make you want to watch the inside of your mind with bleach. And you get plenty of anecdotes. How much can be communicated about the intensity of the front lines, seeing the bombed aftermath of a Chechnyan village, and hearing all sides of the story from the Serbs to the Bosnians to the Croatians. Often the military terms, geography, and racial or religious identities become so convoluted, you have a difficult time deciphering who's raping, killing, and bombing who. And then you realize it's mostly everybody who's doing it to everybody, but it's mostly the Serbs who take the cake. Goddamn stupid fucking... They are absolutely 100% mercilessly vicious, as will be shown time and time again. The last thing you wanted was to be alive when you were captured by the Serbian army. It was far preferable to put a gun in your mouth or to keep a hand grenade ready to blow yourself to bits. There is an internet meme of one of the most demented pro-Serbian public access style music videos with an accordion player who looks like he just slaughtered the owner of said accordion 5 minutes before shooting this. After receiving some information on said individual, it turns out that yes, he was in fact involved with genocide and was charged with war crimes, and it's publicly available. This of course doesn't mean that all Serbians are murderers. It just reinforces the infinitely disturbing capabilities of all cultures in the time of war. So what are we left with? Is war atrocious? Of course. Is war exciting? Definitely. Is war a good thing? Depends on who you ask. Is everyone capable of doing something hideous that they never thought themselves capable of doing? Absolutely. So if you'd like to have your life change and experience life at and past the limits, go to war. Just know that when you go that far, you may not come back. Alright, well that's all I got for you today. All these crazy light changes, all this wildlife trying to fucking kill me. I might just start doing videos on my fucking phone. I'm gonna be traveling so much within the next month. Anyways, I hope you guys are very well. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a lot of great stuff to come. I'm going to work on that film channel too. Going to get some more reviews up there as soon as possible. Here it comes again. Fucking dive bombing for me. Son of a bitch. And always remember what John Waters said. If you go home with someone and they don't have books, don't fuck them.
Odlikaća do Petrovca sela, do Petrovca sela.